Today we're trading in the usual 1920s flapper dresses for neon streetwear and swapping speakeasies for underground clubs as we explore 1980s Japan, a decade of economic boom, cyberpunk aesthetics and cultural upheaval. Welcome to Roll for Sanity, where we become mythos investigators in the world of Call of Cthulhu roleplaying, and welcome to all the new investigators joining us since the last vid. Whether your investigator is a salaryman with a secret, or a rebellious artist, or a Yakuza enforcer with a heart of gold, these pastimes from the electric chaos of 1980s Japan will give you a grounding in the culture so your character properly recuperates in their downtime. Let's grab our Walkman, adjust our Tamagotchi, just kidding, those came later, and let's hit the streets of Tokyo, where I'll do my best with the pronunciations. For the wealthy and upwardly mobile, the 1980s were a golden age of visible consumption. Japan's economic bubble made millionaires overnight, and they flaunted their wealth openly. In hostess clubs and high-end bars, the elite rubbed shoulders in exclusive clubs where champagne flowed like water and hostesses charmed the clients with wit and song. Wedding halls and love hotels conducted over-the-top wedding ceremonies, sometimes in Disney-esque chapels, while love hotels offered discreet and often themed escapes for couples, married or not. Competitive pursuits like golf and mahjong allowed people to test themselves, with the membership of an exclusive golf club becoming a status symbol. And in high-stakes mahjong parlours, deals and debts could be made in a blend of Western casinos and traditional pastimes. For the rich, travel destinations like Guam and Hawaii were the ultimate status trips. If your character has a credit rating of over 70, then these jet-setting types would brag about Waikiki beaches or Guam's duty-free shopping. For the more active, ski resorts at Nisako and Hakuba became playgrounds for the rich, where, after the excitement of the slopes, après-ski meant karaoke and sake. If they could take the long flight in the 747, then the claim of "I've been to Paris" would be bragging rights for those who could afford European vacations, even if they only saw the Eiffel Tower from a tour bus window. What better way to demonstrate wealth than with an original Van Gogh or a Picasso hanging on your wall? In 1980s Japan, Japanese collectors drove up art prices for Impressionist masters. Own a real Monet and you'd arrived. Alternatively, collectible anime sales and rare manga before it was mainstream, those with deep pockets snapped up original Akira or Dragon Ball manga comics. If famous art wasn't your thing, how about a famous brand? Rolex and Patek Philippe exploded in popularity as a gold watch wasn't just a timepiece, it was a statement. Not everyone was a tycoon, but the middle class thrived on newfound comforts and consumerism that allowed them to also show off. Karaoke was the ultimate social equalizer, whether you were a banker or a bar hostess. Belting out Candle no Hitomi by Koji Kikiwa was a rite of passage. For the shy, private rooms meant no shame for those off-key renditions of enka or city pop. The pachinko parlours were filled with the sound of 1,000 steel balls clattering through machines as the soundtrack of working-class hopes and dreams, and a great place to launder money apparently. Disneyland Tokyo opened in 1983 and was the happiest place on earth as long as you weren't one of the workers passing out from exhaustion, keeping everyone happy. Alternative Osen trips were cultural rituals for refreshing the bodies and mind at hot spring resorts like Atami or Beppu, where families soaked away the stress. Don't forget your Olsen manners, though. At home, video games and repetitive strain injury exploded onto the scene, with the Famicom Nintendo Entertainment System revolutionizing home entertainment. Super Mario Bros. And Dragon Quest turned kids into gaming legends. Perhaps your character is a baseball fan, supporting the Yomiuri Giants at the hallowed ground Korakuen Stadium, where in 1981 they won their 16th Japan Series title in team history. Perhaps you prefer pro wrestling and saw Tiger Mask 2 battling Kid Dynamite with his Tiger Driver from your ringside seat, Or maybe you were the active one taking on marathons, or more commonly aerobics. The fitness craze hit hard, and thanks to home video you would work out to the Jane Fonda tapes or listen to the morning calisthenics show. Not everyone embraced the excess, although for the blue-collar workers and the rebellious, the 1980s offered grit, creativity and escape. City pop artists like Tatsuro Yamashita and Maria Takeuchi offered smooth jazz lounge music and were unapologetically cool, defining the sound of neon-lit nights. Punk and new wave bands like the Stalin and GISM screamed against conformity in tiny Shinjuku clubs, capturing the energy of rebellion. For the older crowd, enka and folk music brought Sentai ballads like Kumuro no Koto Yobi by Harumi Miyako to the izakayas, informal bars where salarymen drowned their sorrows. By day, the izakayas and ramen shops served cheap beer and enderman to overworked salarymen from standing bars where debate on the best noodle, shoyu, miso or tonkotsu, grew into the ramen wars. Will your investigator pick a side and fight for their noodle? Street fashion in the province of Harajuku had Takashita Street, where punks, rockabillys and lolitas crashed in a riot of colour and leather. Yankee style was bleached hair, loafers and long skirts for the rebellious youth. Japanese streetwear was born in this environment, and brands like A Bathing Ape, B-A-P-E, Bape, and Underground Cover got their start in the Oro Harajuku, emerging in the 1980s as the hidden backstreet fashion movement. Even in a booming economy, not everyone benefited, but creativity thrived, even in the cracks. The day labourers' Sanya, Tokyo's day labour district, was a world of temporary jobs, flop houses and gateways to the criminal underworld. Perhaps your character is one of those desperate gamblers chancing your luck on pachinko and horse racing. Or maybe street games like mahjong and shoki, played on folding tables under vending machine lights, far from the exclusive clubs. For a quick, high-paced pastime, arcades were filled with Pac-Man, Super Mario Bros. And Bubble Bobble, offering cheap thrills for pocket change. Home movie cinema night on VHS and Betamax video machines was now possible by renting tapes from the local studio, becoming a weekend ritual. Horror like Ju-On, Yakuza films, Battle Without Honor, and anime, Macross, Fist of the North Star, ruled the screens. Television variety shows like Gaki no Tsuki and Tamora Club made stars of comedians. On radio, pop idols like Suko Matsuda and Akina Nakamura dominated the charts and wore the latest fashions from designers like Yoji Yamamoto and Rei Kawakubo, who shocked Paris with her avant-garde black fabric outfits. And it turns out sailor uniforms weren't just for school, they were fashion statements. Of course, no investigator could be complete without the tech and gadgets of the time. Walkmans, Sony's portable cassette player, let you drown out the world with your mixtape. Dual liquid crystal displays in handheld games from Nintendo meant the Mario Brothers could be played anywhere. Or would your character be into manga and anime? The run of Akira, on which the legendary anime was based, started in 1982 and ran to 120 chapters. It shared the shelves with Dragon Ball Z, Fist of the North Star, and later Saint Seiya, who were all required reading. And when it was time to get back to the investigation, your pager would ping. At first, it was just a signal to call a specific number, but by the mid to late 1980s, text messages could be sent. The sender would still have to call an operator, who would then type the message to send, but back then, that was high-tech. The 1980s Japan were more than just fun. They were a cultural explosion that shaped the country. The excess of the bubble economy meant that the decade was a mix of tradition, futurism, as well as conformity and rebellion against the past. So, which pastimes of the 1980s will you weave into your investigator's backstory? Let us know in the comments, and don't forget to check out our video on creating a 1980s Japanese investigator. Thanks for watching, and we'll roll for Sanity again soon.